Today I'm going to review Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
Charles Bronson in the biggest death wish ever.
They have to be stopped, cousin.
Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
Death Wish 4, The Crackdown came out in 1987. Michael Winner, who directed the first three in the series, didn't direct this one. This time it was directed by Gail Lee-Thompson. And this is the 7th time the director worked with Charles Bronson. Bronson was displeased with Death Wish 3, so they used a different director. Michael Winner was also involved with a film called Appointment with Death, and he also said he didn't want to do another Death Wish film, so that's why Gail Lee-Thompson took over. Bronson got $4 million, and that was more than half the budget. The screenplay was by Gail Hickman, music by John Bisharat, Paul McCallum, and Valentine McCallum. The film runs 99 minutes, cost $5 million to make, however it was a disappointment at the box office and only made $6.9 million back. The film stars Charles Bronson, Lenz, John P. Ryan and Perry Lopez. So in this film, Charles Bronson plays Paul Kersey again. This time he's battling two rival mafia gangs that are dealing drugs. So the film's like a message, war on drugs, showing how bad drugs are.
You don't do it, someone else will?
That's right. No, that's exactly right.
How many?
How many what?
How many children have you killed with this shit?
And the victims are always young people, teens or early 20s. Hey, Phil, them buggers that sell drugs, they're right bloody twats. Some buggers should shove the bloody drugs up their asses. However, this film isn't directed by Michael Winner, and it does show. I think Michael Winner really knew the character of Paul Kersey, and these three films are better. However, the director Gail Lee-Thompson, he has made some really good films in the past. For instance, he's done the last two Planet of the Apes films in the classics cycle of films. And he's also directed one of my favourite horror films, The Reincarnation of Peter Proud, that I've reviewed on the channel. That's really good. And he's worked with Charles Bronson loads of times. This was the 7th time he directed him. And although Charles Bronson was 66 when he made this film, he's in great shape. I actually think he looks thinner and better in this film than he did in the previous film when he was 64. He seems to look a little bit thinner, and he can still run around and do action sequences, and he always gives a great performance as well in his films.
Who the fuck are you?
Death.
Hey, bloody hell, a 66-year-old fella battling two bloody mafia gangs. Soft as bloody shit. He should be in bed bloody drinking cocoa. Although there's some good action scenes in this film though, it is typical canon action film that the company was doing at this time. And at times it doesn't really feel like a Death Wish film, but more of a Dirty Harry, one of the sequels that they made in the 80s. It seems at times a little bit like that. The film has an interesting start. It's a dream sequence, so I thought that was really good. However, the major problem with this film is the villains. With the villains being just mafia gangs, it's unlike the first three films, especially the first two, where it was more personal. Because in the first couple of films, it's youths that attack his family and rape his wife and daughter. However, in this film, we just told that these are bad men, that they sell drugs. Whereas in the first couple of films, the audience is shown that the villains are evil, with the controversial rape sequence.
I would like to say that I think we are talking about rape very gently and nicely, and in fact the sequence, although it involves rape, also involves sodomy, which is something which is not comfortable if you love your partner and wish to be sodomized, and is extremely and excruciatingly painful.
And a lot of critics didn't get that they were complaining about the rape sequence, but it was necessary for the film. That's why the first couple of films were really good, especially the first film. So without these graphic sequences, the audience wouldn't get emotional and hate the people who attacked his family. However, in this film, you're just like told these are bad men, these are like gangsters that sell drugs, and you get detached from the film. You don't get as emotional as you did with the earlier films. So the earlier films had more of a revenge plot line. This, it's just kind of like a typical action film. If you was noticed, the actor Tim Ross is in this film, and he played Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager. Another poor thing about this film is, with it being part 4, kind of like the series is getting a little bit tired. That's why they make a lot of trilogies, these filmmakers. They tend to make about 3 films. So a lot of film series only do 3 films. That seems to be the sweet spot, without it getting overdone. So I think really they should have quit after part 3, but they continued for a couple of more films. And although Charles Bronson looks great for 66, his leading lady's a lot younger than him. And you can tell that the scenes where they're together, where she's wanting him to commit to her, to marry her, it does look a bit silly. So it's a pity they didn't get like an older leading lady, someone a little bit closer to Bronson's age.
Yeah, hell, is that his bloody girlfriend? He looks like a fucking grandfather.
But it is a fun film. There is some good action, but compared to the other films, it is a bit disappointing. So out of 10, I think I'd give this one 6. 6 out of 10. I was a bit disappointed with this one. What did you think, Bones? Did you like it?
I thought it was soft as bloody shit, Phil. You can't have a bloody 66-year-old bloody fella run around like bloody Rambo. What's he gonna look like in the fucking last film when he's bloody 73? Soft as bloody shit.
Yes, Bones, he was getting on a little bit in the last film. So there's only one more film in this series. That's Death Wish 5, Face of Death. Charles Bronson's 73 in that one. So it'll be interesting to watch the last one in the series, and then I'll rank all 5. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. See you next time. Bye everyone. Bye. Bye.
Come on out. What the fuck are you doing here?
I was making a sandwich.